Hey y'all, Kentucky Farmer here, and welcome back to Estancia Lapacho. We are back here at the farm, and it is a new day. Our oilseed radish has sprouted, so we are ready to do a little more field work here. Between the last episode and this episode, I said I was going to do some missions. I may have lied a little bit about that. I didn't do some. I did a lot of missions. I just did all of the harvest missions and just kind of kept progressing time until the fields were ready, and then kept going until it was daytime. So let's bring up our HUD here. So yeah, we got just over $400,000 in the bank from doing missions. I only did harvest missions. I didn't do anything else. And yeah, so apparently those are still pretty OP if I managed to rake in that much cash. Oh, and our loans paid off now. So really it was, $450,000 because I had, started with some and then paid off a $100,000 loan. So yeah. So we need to start planting sugarcane. And before I can do that, the fields need to be plowed, which I've got this guy here. So I'm gonna grab this and we'll take it over to the field, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and hire a worker. Use some of that hard-earned money, save me some time. Now this has 5% of oilseed radish in it, but I think I can still use it as a plow if I just don't turn it on. Lower it, but then don't turn it on. We'll give that a try and see if it works for us. Still kind of lost, trying to find my way around the map here, clearly. That was not the way I was supposed to go. Let's try this road. This looks promising. There we go. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's double check that this field is one of the ones that needs to get plowed. Yes. Alright. There's one more thing I want to look at here. So I was doing a little bit of research about some of this new equipment. And there's this 5-in-1 cultivator. It says a subsoiler prepares the field for the next sowing. It can be used instead of a plow. Fertilized spreader improves the harvest of your field. So needs 240 horsepower. That tractor that I currently have doesn't have enough horsepower, but I might be able to buy. Alright, let's go ahead and send this combo here and let it do its work, and then I may get that other one and a new piece of equipment. So I'm going to do field work on field 14, starting in the northeast, heading south. And we're going to start at the first waypoint and drive course. Yeah. I was worried about that. So, Courseplay sees this as a seeder, not as a cultivator or a plow. So it's not going to want to run that course. Alright. And then if I hire a worker, I imagine it's going to do the same thing. Alright, so this may not work. I could probably drive it by hand with like GPS mod and just not turn on the seeder. But yeah, we're going to try the other 5-in-1 and see what that gets us, because I would probably rather use that. Alright, let's hop out of there. Yeah, we don't need this. So let's go back in the store. Alright, so 17,000. That's not bad at all. But we need 240 horsepower. So if we look at our tractors, so this only goes up to 180. That'd be a bit of a struggle. We're gonna have to get something else. I think this Massey goes 280. Kind of like this tractor as a good mid-range tractor. It's like gives you the most horsepower for your money, really. And it's also, as far as front loader attachment goes, it's the most horsepower you can get with a front loader attachment. So I'm gonna buy that. Alright. It's a lot more tractor than we've got plow or cultivator. But we're going to give this new piece of equipment a try, so. Let's see. The other thing kind of looking at here is I'm just gonna buy another bag of fertilizer just to, we've got some at the farm, but I don't like taking back empty equipment and then having to like go get a bag of fertilizer and bring it back, so. Alright, I can fill that up. And, well, I've got this here with the front 3-point. The other thing I wanted to buy was just a plain old fertilizer spreader. We'll get this Kuhn one. And I'm gonna need three more of those. All right. Forget what key it is to close the cover. Ah. There we go. Okay. So, new tractor, fertilizer spreader, and a new cultivator, subsoiler, fertilizer, plow, dealy McDeal. Fantastic. Kind of an odd looking piece of equipment. Oh, car. Really only has 2 rippers on it. Alright, we'll leave that there. And we'll take this guy. I guess we'll go back over here to field 14. We'll start with that one. I don't know. This seems like a lot of tractor for this little cultivator, but let's give it a whirl. Starting in the northeast, heading south. Generate that. And first waypoint, drive course. Oh, okay. We still need to be in fertilize and seed. Alright, so when this is done, in theory, if this is all going correctly, the field should have 2 levels of fertilization, because we got 1 from cultivating in the oilseed radish and 1 from the fertilizer that's on the cultivator. And the needs plow status should be removed, which then sets us up perfectly for using the sugarcane seeder, because that will put down 1 layer of fertilization as it seeds. Alright, we'll let that do its magic, and really the next thing then is going to be the seed with this. Trying to think. We gotta do some research here. I don't know if my little tractor is gonna be enough to pull that, because I sold the case. Yeah, I don't think the one I have has enough horsepower, so we may need another tractor still. Let's see here. 140 horsepower. Okay, and then this is 150 up to 180. 128. Okay. I like how last episode I sold 1 tractor because I was like, there's too many tractors. I don't need all these tractors. And now I just bought 2. Reasons. Alright, well that's pretty good looking. Alright, let's grab this thing and head on over to the field. I like how when I started this episode I was like, oh man, look how much money I got. It's crazy. And now all of a sudden I'm down to 22,000. Whoops. Alright, here we are, field 14. Let's open up course play, and we're going to do fertilize and seed. I'm 14 at 1.4 whopping meters. Holy cow. Starting in the northeast, heading south. Generate. First waypoint. Fertilizer function of sewing machine activated. What? I wonder if I try and use the other... Okay, well, we're going to start this and then I'll go try that in one of the other fields. I wonder if I can deactivate the seeding function in fertilize and seed mode and have it just cultivate. That'd be cool. Alright. Yep, everything should be good. Drive course. Okay. There we go. Putting down the sugar. And it looks like since this is only doing 1.4 meters, and it's going slower. This is doing 7 miles an hour. The other one's doing 10. So we don't have to worry about this tractor catching up to the Massey. And it's still got 89% fertilizer. Okay. Yeah, so that's good. Alright, so which of our fields needs plowing? Field 1 needs to be plowed, field 2 doesn't. Okay. Well, I mean, even if I have to do field 1 by hand in GPS mod, I'm not opposed to doing that, just to try this out. We'll see if Courseplay will do it first, and if not, we'll switch over. If I had enough money, I'd just put down a workshop and then remove the cedar box. Alright. We're going to do fertilize and seed on field 1, starting in the southeast, heading north. Generate. First waypoint. Yeah, it's like it doesn't have an option to turn that off. Alright, how much is a vehicle workshop? Placeables. 28,000. Get out of here. Alright. I mean, I guess I'll just take out a little bit of a loan. I'll do more missions after we're done here and pay it back, so it's not a huge deal. Alright, where's a good place to plop down a vehicle workshop? Over here? Right here? Ah, right here. Yeah. I don't have enough money. Right. We just went over that. Ooh. That does not really want to get too close to that building. Too close to the cows, I guess? Alright, hopefully that, where's my tractor? Oh. Hopefully that's good enough. Alright, so then if I take off the cedar box, that's free. And then if I put it back on, that's free. Now my question is there still a little bit of seed in there, or does it empty the box when I remove it? I'm guessing it empties it. Yeah. Alright, I mean, that's fair enough. It'd be great if we could unload those. So if I need to change that around in the future, I'm basically just out the money for the seed that's in the box. That's not bad. Okay, same course should work, except we need to change it to fieldwork mode. Drive course. Nice. So that guy's busy doing its thing. These guys are busy doing their thing. And we are down to 80% sugarcane, 90% fertilizer. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is start transporting fertilizer and sugarcane. You know, I put these arms on here and never really noticed, but I was watching a couple other streams today. And let's get this thing outside. Those arms are like comically large for this tractor. And as far as I know, those are the small ones. Yeah, so it's already the FC30s, it's not even the FC60s. Yeah. But that's okay. Oh, and that's probably the reason why. The other thing that's funny is you start with a whole bunch of tractors that don't have front 3 points, and yet you start with 2 weights. Well, the weights are how you keep this thing from flipping over when you pick something up with the front forks. So, we'll hook that up there. That'll help our balance. So we got some freebie sugarcane over here. Nope. Yep. Let's see if we can fill our planter on the fly. Wait for it to make its turn and start heading away from us here. And the 3-in-1's got 73% and it's halfway done with the field, so we won't have to worry about refilling it. Guess this won't work. Bye-bye, box. That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's there if it needs it. I should stick around and see if that falls off when it makes the turn. Alright, we're good. I added a mod just before starting this game for a trailer. So I've never, here we go. This mid DSL and DSH. Mudguards, standard, huh. So of course I don't have enough money to buy it. I'd have to take out a loan. I added that mod because it looked like you can open up the side panels and then load like 2 pallets on it. So I kind of thought that would be handy. You know, I could take this tractor with that trailer down to the store, buy 3 pallets of sugarcane, put 1 on the forks and 2 in the trailer, and then drive it back and use it to reload. Check on this guy. Looks like he's missing a little bit at the ends, but not too bad. The only other thing we need to do, let's check our levels of fertilization here. Okay, so 2, trying to think here. This has 2 levels because we're cultivating in. So when we plant, it'll have its 3rd. And then field 2, if we use this 5-in-1 to cultivate in the oilseed radish, it'll get a layer of fertilization that way. And then it gets 1 from the oilseed radish, so it'll be at 2, so that when we seed, both of those will go to 3. And I also did I did a little research about how the sugarcane works, and once you seed it, you can harvest it 3 times. But then after the third time, the field is overworked and you have to plow it and reseed it to do another round of 3. So it's kind of handy to have equipment like that 5-in-1 and like this thing where it's plowing, cultivating, and seeding, or plowing, cultivating, and fertilizing all in one step, because it seems like every time that I replant a field, I'm going to have to plow and, turn it over at the same time, because we won't have to do like the in-between steps that we would typically do with other crops. And then if I can just get the fields on like a rotation so that I'm not obviously having to redo all of them at the same time, then, I could see how this would be a pretty solid setup. Apparently the growth time on it is pretty long, so we will just, I don't know what their definition of a long time is. I guess that's why the game has fast forward and fast crop growth speed. Okay, well, I don't really have anything to do at this point, except for drive around in circles. Let's go see how this field's progressing. A little suspicious that you pull up and they're all just sitting there at the end of the field. Oh, now it looks like they're doing work. Okay. They were busy eating lunch and jawing, and then they saw the boss roll up and decided to get back to work. So we're still at 62% in the 5-in-1 and 50% sugarcane in our cedar. That's actually not bad. So if that's 50%, then we should be able to get probably about a third, maybe a quarter. So we'll be somewhere between a half and 2/3 of the way through the field before it runs out. So then if I can just refill it once, it'll be enough to finish the field. That's not that bad. I mean, at that rate, even if you had to stop, pull it off the field, and drive it over to refill somewhere else and then bring it back, that's not really that bad. I'm sure at the rate that I've been doing missions on this game, it won't be long before we can afford a bigger one. And of course, by bigger, I mean it does 2 rows instead of 1 row. It's not a huge upgrade. This may be one of those maps, especially if I just focus on sugarcane, where it's better off to have more little equipment than it is to have like 1 or 2 big things. Like, we may not be doing big buds and challengers. It might just be a bunch of little tractors with little implements and doing, and have a couple out working at any given time. I guess eventually we're going to have to start considering expanding our empire. I'm not doing great on farmer reputation here. I got like, 1 or 2 notches basically with each farmer. Yeah. It's also a little weird that each one of the fields next to our farm's owned by a different farmer. They're not like clustered up anymore. I thought on Goldcrest Valley that was kind of how they were set up. Like, each farmer owned like 3 or 4 fields in a group. And so if you wanted to build up a reputation with that farmer, you had to go work those fields. Uh-oh. Mayday. My box fell down. Alright, I think I'm going to put this back over with the other 4, and then what I'll do is when that seeder runs out, I'll just drive it over here and fill it up at the main farm, drive it back, and start it up again. I'm going to grab 1 pallet of fertilizer. That way we can put that over where the sugar cane's at. Alright, everybody's still working. Let's see what our time estimate is here from course play. Ooh, 55 minutes. The other thing I wanted to check in the store was... yeah, so this still doesn't have any options. That's weird. I figured if all these other things have options, maybe this one has them, and that explains why it's got 320 horsepower requirement, but no. And then what? Okay, so cedar box or no cedar box, 4.9 meters. It's 220 horsepower. And the only other subsoilers is this Coon and this Call to Plow from the Big Bud Pack. So I wonder if any of these have like a speed enhancement, like basically can any of these go faster than 10 miles an hour? Nope. 10 miles an hour is the max. And then of course under plows, it's 9 except for the Jumpas, which only do 7. Interesting. So 4.9 meters for that, and then the biggest is 8 meters, 420. This may be the only thing that would convince me to get bigger equipment. 420 horsepower. Could use the Challenger. Or the Big Bud. Or the 900E. Or the Quad Track, or the 800E. Or a T9. Ooh. 435 if you do the 380 CVX. Or 435 if you do the T8 435. Yeah. So the T8 can pull that big Call to Plow. Interesting. Oh, but that's speed limited to 7 miles an hour. Whereas this is 10 miles an hour at 4.9. So again, 2 little tractors, I mean little, 220 horsepower, so 2 mid-class tractors pulling 2 of these would technically outplow a big tractor with that bigger piece of equipment. Interesting. Yeah, I think I may just stick with my multiple little equipment. It's even... What is the horsepower on that again? 220, okay. It's the big Stara. It's only 180. So what do we have that can do 220? The Fendt 700 can do it with an upgraded engine. So yeah, that's the Fendt 700 with the upgraded engines, 200,000. Or for a few bucks more, you can do the Massies. Yeah. There's a reason why I use these. There's a reason why I use those Massey 7700s a lot. They really have a good numbers, and they kind of hit a sweet spot in this game. Looks like he's almost done. I'm trying to think what would be the ideal process, right? So say you have a field that's got sugarcane on it, you just harvested it, and now it says it needs to be plowed because it was your third harvest of sugarcane. It'll have no layers of fertilization. So if you ran this machine, you'd get... It would plow the field, and it would give you one layer of fertilization. Then you could run you could spread dry fertilizer, dry or liquid, then run this, and that would get you 2 levels, and then run the seeder. Yeah, so all you would need is a bunch of these things. And you could skip the oilseed radish, which would save you a little bit of time. I'm not so worried about that. Alright, so this field's done. So I just need to refill this and take it over to field 2. I think I can back this in here. Whoa, can't really see what I'm doing. Ow. There we go. Alright, fertilizing seed. Clear the course. This is field 2. Starting in the southwest. Heading north. Return to first waypoint. Sure. Generate that. And drive course. Alright, off it goes. And our sugarcane seeder's down to 8%, so it's kind of a toss-up as to which one's going to run out next. I'll just stop it at the end of the row. Well, I'll let it make its turn, and then I'll stop it. That way the next waypoint that we have to resume on will be heading south on the field. Okay. Take this back and fill it up. This looks kind of weird. It's 3-point mounted, but it really likes to dig in when you go backwards. And of course, apparently I can't get it close enough to that stuff for it to refill. There we go. Now the question is, will this refill if I hold it over it? No. It's kind of weird. Great. What is this thing doing? Alright, well that's the new parking spot for that tractor. I'm just gonna drive this thing around and fill it from back here. Alright. So I should be able to basically come right about here, and then we'll say, yeah, current waypoint, drive course, and off it goes. And that's, I mean, that's pretty close to half of the field. I don't know, maybe it'll have enough to finish, maybe it won't. But the next time I have to refill it, I'm just going to drive it down to the store and just buy 4 pallets and do that. Okay, so he's still doing his thing. This guy's done. Except we got to clean up those headlands. Nice. Finish with field 1. I'm gonna take this thing back to the barn and park it. Okay. So this guy's got to keep doing his thing, which according to course play is going to take another 40 minutes. And this one, ooh, another hour and 10 minutes. Yikes. Well, I don't really know I don't really know if there's much else I can do right now. Kind of broke, so I can't like go buy something. I could do missions, but missions are kind of boring, so I don't really want to do those when I'm recording. And these guys are going to be out here for a while. See, like, this would totally go faster if I had, you know, 3 of these or whatever, and I used them and, like, teamed them up to do this one field. Same goes for the planting, obviously. Like, that whole process would go a lot faster if I had multiple pieces of equipment. So I think that's the direction I'm going to head. Obviously, I think a lot of the missions, that, like, once I get this planted, I'm just going to plant this with the equipment that I have and call it a day. And then once I get to the harvesting phase, we'll try using this bad boy, but that looks painful to harvest everything with this. So I'll try and do one field with this, and then I may wind up switching to these. So I think most of the missions I do between now and then, the money I get from that is going to go to buy one of these things. And then, you know, probably buy some of these bigger trailers too. And then eventually I guess we're going to want a semi for transporting, and then maybe some belts or something if we store it on the ground. So yeah, I think that's the direction I'm going to take this. I'm going to try and stick with just sugarcane plantation for now. See if I can get, like, you know, field 7, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, and 2, maybe even 14, 15, 16, all in sugarcane. And then down the road, you know, as I start to work my way out the other fields, then we'll start putting in stuff for livestock, like up by the sheep by fields 9, 11, 10, and 12, I could always plant grass on those because that's all the sheep really need. And then we'll have to do grass somewhere. Like, I could do field 29, just a giant grass field, to get stuff for the cows. And then maybe 30, 27, 28, 26 would be stuff for the pigs. And then down on the west end of the map, south end of the map, I might do grains down there and just have equipment stored down there specifically for grains. So, you know, harvester and the seeders and everything. So that's kind of what I've been thinking. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, would you please give it a thumbs up? It helps a lot. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe for more farming simulator videos. I'm Kentucky Farmer. Thanks for watching.